All right, we're back with part 2 of this section, solve problems. So 2 applications of percent change are sales tax and discounts. Sales tax is an example of a percent increase because you have to add that on top of the price of the product. A discount is an example of a percent decrease because you're taking that off. Normally they say 40% off sale because they're taking that much off of the price of the product. Okay, so Marta is purchasing wire and beads to make jewelry. Her merchandise is $28.62 before tax. If the tax is 7.25%, find the total sales. What's the final cost? So we got to find the tax. So the tax is 7.25% of the price of the merchandise. So what you have to do is convert your percent to a decimal before you do this type of problem, because we're not going to set up a proportion. We're just going to multiply and add. Okay? So anytime you have a percent, you take the decimal and move it 2 places to the left. If there's not 2 places, you have to supply a 0. So 7.25, 2 places to the left, you would move it. You have to introduce a 0 as a placeholder. If I had 104%, there's no decimal written there. Where is it? It's always at the end of the number. If you just have an integer, they normally don't put the decimal there. But know that if you have an integer, it means a number that's not a decimal. The decimal is understood to be at the end of the number, and then you just move it 2 places to the left. So 104% would really be 1.04 as a decimal. Okay? So all you do is multiply that decimal times the amount, and that answer is the tax. It's not the cost of the merchandise. This is just how much the tax is on top of that. Now we're going to round that to the nearest cent, so it'd be 2.07 since we're dealing with money and you round to the nearest cent. So the cost with tax is you add that to the original cost, so $28.62 plus 207 is $30.69, and that's the cost of her jewelry supplies. Pretty cool stuff, huh? All right, here's one for you to try. Go ahead and pause the video and hit play when you're ready. Okay, we're back. All right, a new DVD costs $24.99. The sales tax is 6.85%. What's the total cost? So first, we're going to find the tax. So it's $24.99 times what? Remember, move the decimal over 2. So it'd be 0.0685. You multiply those together and round, you get $1.71. And then the total, you just add that on to the original cost, and it'd be $26.70. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you a way to do these problems in one step right now. You don't have to do it this way if it's confusing. If it's not and you understand it, good. So in this problem, you have a percent increase. So what they're really doing is they're taking the whole cost, which is really 100% of the item, and then adding on 6.85% more, right? So the cost with the sales tax is actually over 100% of the original cost because you're adding on the sales tax. Okay, so you could do this problem in one step by, if you think about it, here's what happened. The $24.99 is 100% of the cost, and the $1.71 is the 6.85%. So really, the $26.70 ends up being 106.85% of the original cost. So what you can do is take the original cost and multiply it by 106.85%, but make it a decimal. 2 places to the left to be 1.0685. Now let me show you something. I'm going to bring up my calculator. Take a second to come up. There it is. If I do 24.99 times 1.0685, in one step you get the answer with the tax. Because if you add the tax on, it's really more than 100% of the cost. It's 100 and whatever the tax rate is. So it's 106.85%. So if you just multiply $24.99 by 1.0685, you'll get the total cost with the tax. Now, notice there's some extra stuff here. If you just round to the nearest cent, it'd be $26.70, like we got before. Okay, and like I said, if that's confusing, you can first find the tax and then add that to the original. Doesn't bother me either way. Okay. All right, to find a discount amount, you'll follow similar steps as those for sales tax. So since Tyrell has earned good grades in school, he qualifies for the good student discount on his car insurance. His monthly payment without the discount is $85. If the discount is 20%, what will he pay each month? Okay, so what they're doing, a discount is 20% off of the price, so that's a percent decrease. So all you have to do is multiply 20% times 85, but do the 20% as a decimal. So 0.2 times 85 is 17. 17 is not the answer. That's how much of a discount he's getting. So the second step is to actually subtract the 17 off of the $85 because it's a discount. His price is going to be cheaper. So it's $68. And so with the good student discount, Tyrell will pay $68, per month. Now, let me show you the other way to do this. If you get a 20% discount, think about this. They take 20% off. How much are you still paying, though? What percent? They take 20% off. Did you get 80%? Think about it. $85 represents 100% of the payment for his car insurance. If they take 20% off of the 100%, they're taking off 20%, which means that 80% is still left. Okay, we're talking percents now. So the other way to do this problem is to take 80% of 85, and then that answer is how much is still left for his payment. And if you do 85 times 0.8, this is how to do the problem in one step, you get 68. Okay? So if you think 20% discount, that means you still have to pay 80% of the price. So take 80% of the price, and that gives you your new price. Again, that's just how to do it in one step. All right, here's one for you to try. Now, you can do this in both ways or one or the other ways. It doesn't matter, but go ahead and read the problem and hit play when you're ready. Okay, we're back. A picture frame originally cost $14.89, on sale for 40% off. What's the discounted price? Okay, so 40%, decimal's not there, so put it at the end. 2 places to the left, it's going to be 0.4. So 14.89 times 0.4. Let's see what that is. 14.89 times 0.4 is 5.96. Okay, we're going to round. So 14.89 minus 5.96 equals 983 or 893. Oops. Now remember, this is the cost. This is the sale price. Now think about it. If they take 40% off, how much is still on? What percent? 60, right? So you could do this problem in one step by just taking 60% or 0.6 of the 14.89, and that will give you the final cost. All right. So 4.89 times 0.6. So you get 8.93 again. Now, again, here we rounded the amount of the discount here and subtracted it. That's why we got 8.93. Here, we just found out how much would be left after the discount. So 60% of 14.89 is 8.934. Again, round to the nearest cent, 8.93. All righty. All right, guys, that's it for this section. Please continue on to your assignment. Make it a great day. And as always, reach out to me if you need any help. All right, take care.